good. I don't need the water. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and call to order the regular meeting 2 of the Swatara Township Board of Commissioners. The time is 7:04. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And please remain standing for a moment of silence. You may be seated. All right, Treasurer Yarzinski is not here, but Interim Manager Trafka is going to do the roll.
Jen.
Sorry. Secretary is Savage. I don't know what I said, actually. Okay. Secretary is Savage is not here this evening, so Interim Manager Trafka will do a roll call vote for us.
Commissioner Connolly?
Here.
Commissioner Ray?
Here.
Commissioner Douglas?
Here.
Vice President Steele?
Here.
And President Ellis?
Here.
Madam President, we have a quorum.
Thank you. This board did have an executive session prior to this meeting to discuss potential litigation. And we are up to item 6. We have Miss Diane Krippis here with us this evening from the Capital Area Greenbelt Association. Yep.
Good evening, everyone.
I'll have you try to speak in. I don't know if, are we good? Yeah, okay. Just for the people that are watching, they won't be able to hear.
Does this work now?
There we go.
Yes. So I'm Vice President of the Capital Area Greenbelt Association, and it's a pleasure to be here this evening. And I just wanted to give you a little bit of background about CAGA and an update on our activities, and just put kind of a face to the organization and stress our continued partnership with Swatara Township and all the good work that we've done together. CAGA is an all-volunteer nonprofit organization that has been maintaining, protecting, and improving the Greenbelt for over 30 years. We do it with 5,000 volunteer hours, and we partner up with 5 municipalities: Swatara, Susquehanna, Pembroke, Paxtang, and the city of Harrisburg and Dauphin County. And we couldn't do it without this partnership. So I wanted to thank Swatara for the police protection that you provide in the area that goes through Swatara Township. Cindy Hogeman, who is the leader of the Five Senses Garden, can't thank you enough. So when we need mulch or when we need logs removed from the Spring Creek, you've been there for us, so we do greatly appreciate that. Unlike the city and Susquehanna Township, you don't own any of the Greenbelt, which is unfortunate. So we're waiting for the day that you all get to own a couple of miles. But most of the Greenbelt is owned by the city, and Susquehanna Township is a little bit owned by Dauphin County. But you are responsible for 2 intersections, and one is the 441 intersection in front of the Five Senses Garden. And I thank you for trying to get that light fixed. So I know you're working on it. The good news is it never stops flashing. So some of the other lights have stopped flashing, and then we have no way to control the intersection. And the other one is the push button on Paxton Street by Faulkner. So those are 2 very, very important intersections that help control the flow of traffic. I've had the privilege of working with Corporal Brandon Procope with Tour de Belt for the last 4 years. And again, I can't thank the police department enough for managing that rest stop that we have across from the Five Senses Garden. I've watched his son grow up because he and his son are there every first Sunday in June. And that is when our next Tour de Belt is, on June 7th. Sunday, June 7th is our 26th annual Tour de Belt. We invite all of you to participate. Susquehanna Township puts a team in. So encourage all of you to think about trying to figure out how to get a group of people that participate from Swatara Township. A couple of highlights on our big capital projects. We are currently rerouting the trail through South Harrisburg and raising about $2 million to do that project. We are restoring the Paxtang Parkway, and we successfully completed about $2 million worth of stream restoration in 2025. And we have started construction on a third of the trail. About a third of the trail will be closed from January through May. But we will be taking a 20-foot wide old road that is probably 75 years old and turning it into a 12-foot path with 4-foot berms on each side. The area from Market Street south, about a third of the way, is closed. So if you get any questions, we are asking for walkers. You can still park at the Dairy Street entrance behind the City Line Diner, and you can walk about half of it, but then you'll have to turn around and walk back. You can't walk all the way to Market Street, and the bikers have a detour that have been provided to them. But the most important reason for me tonight is that we have an award for President Ellis. So President Ellis has been our secretary for the last 3 years, and we wanted to thank her for her service. And what this says is your service to CAGA as secretary for 3 years has been invaluable. Your dedication and support of the Greenbelt are truly appreciated. So we wanted to recognize.
Thank you. Yes.
After they do the whole public thing, after they get sit down picture, we'll do our picture.
Oh, you want all
You guys usually be out front. You come over. Get on the inside. Oh, are we going out there? Oh.
Does it make a difference here?
All right. You gotta take the picture of those two with us out of it, and then we'll get in.
I thought I missed that.
We can just go out there, I guess. Oh, excuse us. Just get out.
I know it is.
Yeah, right. I will say we are looking for a liaison from Swatara Township. So we do try to have a representative from all our member municipalities on our board of directors. We have a 15-member board of directors. So if there's somebody here, we have an opening. So if there's somebody here that is willing to serve as our liaison, otherwise it'll continue to be Shayla or Kevin. But we like to be able to, if you have a question, something comes in, you know who to contact, and vice versa. So if anyone's interested, just send them my way, and we'd greatly appreciate it. But thank you again to Swatara Township and all that you do for trails and parks and recreation. It was great to hear all your playground projects and your park projects that are going on. So that's wonderful. Okay, hey, thank you. Thank you. And thank you again, Diane, for coming. All right. We are up to visitors' requests and comments. If you'd like to make comments, please come forward. Brent, is there something there to write on, Brendan?
Let me put something up.
Okay. So if you're making comments, you'll write your name and address down, and then you may begin. We do ask that you keep the comments to about 3 minutes, and we will go through comments for 30 minutes, and then we will move on, and there's another comment section for the board.
Sign first or sign later?
You can sign it later. That's fine.
He'll be back.
Yeah.
Thank you. Looks pretty thick.
Thank you.
Thank you. You're not sick, are you? Yeah, okay.
Yes. Thank you.
Well, Gene Stilt from Middle Paxton Township. I'm not a member of Swatara Township at all, but we do share one commonality. We are all taxpayers, I believe, in the Central Dauphin School District. Is that correct? Okay. Recently, I've been talking. By the way, congratulations on the board here, and good luck in this coming year. Since we all are members of the school district, taxpayers, and I've been trying to work to make them think about what happens, and this is about emergency planning for 3 Mile Island, which we're all involved with in one way or another. The idea here is people think about emergency planning and responsibilities of townships and school districts just in regard to moving people out, whether it's your average citizen, businesses, or schools, school kids, school districts, and teachers and personnel. But one thing that I've noticed is that nobody takes responsibility for one of the main things that school boards have to protect. That's the physical assets of the schools, all right? In one case here, in the case of Central Dauphin School District, $600 million of physical assets are at risk there, all right? If you look at the contracts for insurance, there's always a nuclear exclusion in the contracts for property. So in order to make the school district pay a little more attention, the only way you can do that is by talking to them. I talked to them 3 times. I've heard nothing back. So there's an administrative complaint process, which this is. And so I filed an administrative complaint with the school district in order to, so they take more notice of what they're doing, and also the fact that they're basically federal, state, and local law doesn't say they have to give their resources to a private company, Constellation Energy. So there's a lot of convoluted reasoning, how should I say it, that makes townships, school boards, school and boroughs and cities pay attention to what's going on at 3 Mile Island. But I'd like you to start look at this, if you will, as a board for the township, but also as a school district taxpayer, what's involved. And so that's all I came here tonight to say. And if there's any questions, my number is on there. You can call me at home or wherever. But there it is, and it's a hard read, so we'll go from there. I'll let you know from time to time what the school district response is as we go through the administrative process and go into other legal processes. But remember, the Swatara Township, you are responsible for the assets of this township, and they are voluminous in regard to what you own for the taxpayers of Swatara Township. So good luck in reading this, but also good luck in your thought patterns on this. But also don't hesitate to call me if you have any questions. Thank you so much, and good luck this year. Lots going on this year. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Good evening, Christine Zubek, 6840 Diallo Drive. I'd like to address a few agenda items this evening. I'm going to start with the 2026 budget. First, I'd like to clarify a few things. There was a news report last week in which former Commissioner Tuckey and I were called disgruntled losers, that we have an inaccurate Facebook page that was paid for by other Republicans, that we were, in fact, not telling the truth, and we already had a 2026 budget. And then I think the other phrase that really stuck out at me is political hyperbole, which was something that the solicitor stated. And I would just like to correct the record and say that our Facebook page was correct, and it's not political hyperbole. And I, as a taxpayer, deserve to have a 2026 budget like anybody else deserves to have. So bringing it up should not be an issue. And I would also like to state that the First Class Township Code provides for specific budget provisions for annually mandated budgets to be passed by December 31st of each year. The provisions focus on preparation, public notice, adoption, and revisions in the revision process to ensure fiscal transparency and accountability. I'm here to say that you have failed miserably in your basic responsibility, and more importantly, you have continued to break the law. The Pennsylvania First Class Township Code cannot legally provides that a township cannot legally operate without a budget and make a payroll. You are legally required to adopt an annual budget. That covers appropriations, including employee compensation from available revenues, as is, it must be balanced. Budget appropriations must cover salaries and benefits, payroll, and cannot exceed the estimated available revenues from taxes and other sources. Employee compensation is a mandatory expense that must be funded within the budget. Your failure to adopt a budget in December of 2025 is a violation of the First Class Township Code, as I previously stated. Therefore, you cannot legally make payroll or pay for other essential services. All PA First Class Townships must formally adopt a balanced budget to legally function and make payroll. You cannot simply operate in the absence of one. Following the law is not an optional guideline, contrary to our solicitor's statement that it doesn't matter because there are no penalties. Now let's talk about the agenda item this evening for a 2026 budget. I would like to remind you that there is no gray area and you need to ensure you are in compliance. By taking this shortcut tonight, you are still not in compliance with the law. You can pass a budget in January if the prior board missed the December 31st deadline, but you must follow specific procedures for an amended budget, including public notice and inspection and adoption. This delay is a non-standard and should provide for a special resolution.
Ms. Zubek, we have the timer for the 3 minutes. I'll give you another minute.
I'm finishing
and
up.
then,
I mean,
yep.
really what I think the board needs to do tonight is to be in compliance with the law. And you need to follow the same procedure that you would in amended budget, even though you haven't passed a budget. And that includes, maybe you should be doing an emergency resolution, declaring an emergency to allow spending at the current levels until a final budget is passed. You have to prepare an amended budget. You have to advertise the proposed amendment to the budget in a local newspaper of general circulation, make the budget available for 10 days, as is required by an amended budget, for residents to review, and adopt a final budget at the public meeting by the next deadline. In closing, the failure of the prior board doesn't void the township of its responsibility. The new board must act quickly to follow the proper legal steps for budget adoption, even if amended, and ensure transparency with public notice and inspection to avoid legal issues. Following the law, irrespective of whether there are penalties, is your sworn responsibility. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Do we have any other visitors' requests and comments at this time?
Hello, my name is Brad English. I live at 571 Swatara Street. This is actually the first time I'm here. And actually I wanted to come here to actually get this experience. Also, I'm the director of the Tri-C Panthers, which serves the youth football team for the East Panthers. And actually, I just wanted to give my thanks to you guys. Our cheerleading department, or our cheerleading squad, actually had a parade, and we were mistakenly given, or actually another team was actually given the actual award, and you guys made it right. So I wanted to come to you guys personally and tell you thank you for doing that, for making that right. Thank you.
Sir, while you're up
Thank
there,
you.
I just want to give a brief explanation. The announcer saw a mascot and was confused slightly between a cougar and a panther. As somebody who grew up in the city of Harrisburg, I know a lot about the cougars, but
Me too.
most of my adult life has been spent out here amongst the panthers, shall we say. So we had the ability, I don't know if you know it or not if you were there, but
Yes.
the president of the board was one of the judges. The conversation happened afterwards. There's no way we were going to reevaluate or say somebody didn't win. The conversation started, and Vice President Steele is the one who came up with the idea of, we were hoping we could make it right, but I'll give, these two the credit, and then I reached out through the Panthers Facebook page. Someone had given me some information, and I was extremely happy to come to your end of year celebration, see all the kids in the community. For many years, I coached Tri-C Sports, and it just was awesome, and to see the girls, how happy they were, and even the boys and the parents supporting them.
Great.
But Commissioner Steele reached out to the local fire company that actually came up with the financial payment that was well deserved, and we had mentioned there, and this is more personal than the board, that if there's anything that we can do beyond that. We're happy you're here. You
Yes.
get the kids off the street.
Yes,
you
I really
do a good
appreciate it.
thing. And to see the smiles, on the game days, but then the end of the year celebration, it truly is a huge family. So credit to you and the entire organization.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Now you got to sing and dance.
Don't charge me for that. All right, that's good. I'm here on the first thing for item 18, 19, and 20 on the agenda. And I 100% agree with all three of those. But I have an addition. I think you need to order another engine too, because in 4 years, the engine or two that you have, I think will need to be replaced. So I'd recommend to get another engine with those three items that are on there. And that doesn't have anything to do with what we were talking about earlier. So I think you need another engine. Now, having said that, I want to remind all of you, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania's first-class township code, the words for fire in the code is must and will. Okay? Take care of the fire service. That's the board. And I think this is a good step in that direction. And I think you still need the other engine. Now, that takes me to another part of the first-class township code is parks. The language is very clear on the parks in the first-class township code is may and can. You don't have to have any parks. You've got 17 of them. You got 17 parks. The last time I said that in front of it, in the commissioner's comments section, I was depicted as an old man, which I am, with no kids. I got kids. Right, Brendan? Right, Ibby? All right. So I'm half of that. And I got grandkids, and they play in the parks when they come to Harrisburg. I don't see any sense in having 17 parks when we don't put the fire truck in all three of the stations that you have. And that goes along with the must and will and the may and can of the first-class township code. That's it. Oh, that's it. Thank you.
And for the public, the gentleman's name is Chris Freese. You wrote it down, you didn't say it, but just for anyone.
Another time too.
All right, do we have any other visitors or questions and comments?
Thank you. Okay. One of my many volunteer jobs that I have going right now is that for quite a number of years I have I've been leading a judging committee on
Ms. Loftus.
essays.
We know your name, but just.
Oh, I'm Zoe
That's
Loftus.
okay. I should have interrupted.
5631
Thank
Plainview
you.
Drive. Okay. One of my volunteering jobs right now is that I judge essays and scholarships. Students submit essays to an organization I'm involved with, and they go up the line, and we judge them, and they're sent on to state level and national level. And the same goes for scholarships too. We go through the scholarship applications and the essays and whatnot, and we determine which ones will go on to different levels. One of the new things for this year was that we are tasked with determining what percentage of the essays and scholarships, we're tasked with identifying essays and scholarships where more than 30% of those submitted, of the content in the essays, cannot be done by AI. So they're allowing, which is really strange, they're allowing maybe 30%, okay, of the essays and scholarships to be done by AI. So I was going through and I was trying to figure out, well, how are we going to do this? How are we going to determine what's AI and what's not? We're in a brand new world here with AI. So what I did was I was playing around with it, and I took Mr. Steele's oratory at the end of the last meeting, and I asked AI to tell me how much of it was AI. Okay, and I put it through a couple of them. Anyway, Rock came back. His oratory had things in there such as we must stop the constant silencing of dissent and mockery of democracy and fear of disagreement. Our responsibility is not governed by popularity, applause, political convenience, and whatnot. It was really strange because went through this whole thing, and Rock came back and said that 80 to 100% had AI involvement in the oratory. I'm not saying that it was or it wasn't, but this is what I used to determine. I'm going to use this tool to determine what's AI and what's not. And it went through too, and it gave us, some things that we should be looking for in our documentary for identifying what is AI. There were things that were kind of awkward in there, and that's what kind of alerted me to it. So what I've done here is I've gone ahead and I've copied Mr. Steele's oratory from last week and what the different AI programs said about it. I think one of the things that I would request
Just want to
is
let
that
you know, Ms. Loftus, that we're at the 3-minute mark. I will give you another minute because I did that.
Because this is a brave new world here. We're into something new, and it's good for adults and as well as children. We don't want children using AI, to do their homework. So I would just, I'll give this to you, and you can look through it. It's got a couple of these AI engines that went through, but I would just say, even for myself, if I were to use AI on anything, I would like to cite, that I have part of my documentation or oratorical delivery was given and generated by AI. Not saying that it was or it wasn't, but this is what the AI generator said about the oratory. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. You have any other visitors or questions and comments?
How y'all doing? Antonio Foster, 594 Chambers Street. Yeah, I want to say about November 31st. First, I'm gonna go before that with Officer Bill, and it seems like we keep having issues. It seems to be personal. I hope it's not. But my issues that I did have with him, I mean, he was serving a warrant for a 302. You can't blame that on a police officer. But for some reason, I mean, those other issues I'm not going to get into right now, but it seems like it comes to be personal with him because after the 302, bottom line, during the 302, I was supposed to be on drugs, all these other things. But as you will hear and come to find out if I have to come back, that I have a very sound and keen mind. Also, throughout the process, I was supposed to be on drugs, but when you get a 302, of course, your urine and blood is taken. So, you know, all that came back clean and clear. So all of it was a lie, but basically, after that, my house was broken into, called the Swatara police. They sent Officer Billman back to my house again. We get in, you know, we break things down, let him know what's going on over periods of time. Thousands of dollars have been stolen. I broke it down to him very clear. He also had a body cam, so everything that I'm saying should be recorded on his end too. Now during the process, I make sure I stated to him that my landlord, Jerry Lee Spencer, was in jail for that because he needed to get the camera that was connected to my house, and my landlord the camera goes to my landlord. At the time, he was in jail for aggravated assault on a police officer and simple assault. It was in lower Swatara. Throughout the process, I told him where to find him. It shouldn't be hard to find him if he's in jail. And at the time, he's also on county probation. One thing about me, I know the other side of the law very well because before I changed my life, I lived on it. So I know you're not getting out of jail while on Dorford County probation with the aggravated assault on a police officer. But he was freed. So why he was freed, that's not my issue or for me to complain about. My issue is the fact that the police officer didn't get the camera. And for me calling for 30 days, I spoke to a Sergeant Moore and a Sergeant Moyer. At the end of the conversation, I was told, you know, he said there was nothing on the camera. I don't think that's the way an investigation goes. I think the officer himself should have seen the camera. I think it's all a part of cover-up, because over the time, I just don't understand why you can't get the camera, or why it's okay for the camera not to be gotten, or why an investigation will go that way.
So, since this is something that is specific to you, we do have officers here. If you want to give more of the information to them, and then they can look into it.
I did file a complaint. I filed a complaint already.
Okay.
Nobody has called me back. I've been waiting to get a call back for a while.
So basically you're saying it's an active investigation, which, okay.
When did you file the complaint?
Internal affairs, which I believe you guys don't have.
Yes, we do.
I was just speaking my mind. I apologize.
Mr. Foster, Mr. Foster, I'm Chief Stauffer. It is with our Internal Affairs Division.
Thank you very much.
You've been speaking with Lieutenant Milstein, and he is actively investigating.
I very much
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Y'all have a nice day.
You also, thank you. Step forward, yep.
Good evening. I'd just like to say first off that
Before you get too far, I'll have you say your name.
Michael Tucky, 5875 Gilsmer Lane. That CBS News segment that was put out there a week ago, a week and a half ago. Everything on our page is true and accurate, 100%. And I'm not disgruntled, as Mr. Commissioner Conley stated, at all. Neither of us are. Just need the public to know the truth and what's going on. And it's disappointing, all the comments that are being made that truly aren't true. And I'm just really getting tired of it. But you keep putting out false information. That's what you're good at. I'd like to know why the 3 pieces apparatus why is it coming in all at one shot? Why isn't it spread out? Because I know we're not flush with money. So I'm kind of curious how you plan on paying for it. It doesn't make any sense to me. Being on that board, you know, I do know a fair amount. And I know this shouldn't be happening, in my opinion, all at one shot like this. How do you plan on paying for it? How much would the 3-piece apparatus cost, if I may ask?
When we get to that item, we'll have discussion and that information will be presented.
Well, this is my concern. That's a lot of money, and this board does not have it. This township does not have it at one shot like this. It's irresponsible to pass all 3 pieces off in one shot. I also, stay in my time frame here, I'd like to know, in the 2026 proposed budget, it shows that there's a $5 million transfer from the building bond to the general fund. I'd like to, if I have the right to know, I'll do that. I'd like to know, like, why was that transferred? And invoices for that processes the spending of that money. This board really needs to take a good look at our finances because it's a mess. And I'm not saying it to be critical to anyone on this board, but this is irresponsible for 3 pieces at one shot like this. I don't see how you're going to be paying for it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any other visitors requesting comments at this time? All right, I don't see anybody jumping up. We're going to go ahead and move on to item 8, a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? I'll second. Do we have any discussion? All right, hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, we're up to item 9, motion to approve the items on the consent agenda.
Motion.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? All right, I'll second. And just for the public, the request from the Beulah Baptist Church, that's something that they've been doing for many years, and that's for a community day that is August 15th, 2026. So keep that in mind, and I do believe that anyone can attend. So do we have any discussion with regard to the consent agenda? All right, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, we're up to item 10, consideration of the minutes. I'll make a motion to approve item 10A and 10B, regular meeting 1 and regular meeting 2 of December. Do I have a second?
Second.
Do we have any discussion with regard to the minutes? All right, hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye. 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 Any opposed? All right, we're up to item 11, building and codes plans, and I'll turn it over to our director, Golden.
Okay, thank you, Madam President. In collaboration with the police department, Sergeant Blue really took this upon herself and did a lot of the legwork. So in accordance with the state legislature, they allow municipalities to destroy certain records. However, it has to be first approved from the governing body. So we're here before you tonight. It's been a couple of years since the township has approved a resolution destroying certain records. I won't go over every single record that's outlined here, but I'll kind of go over the main headings. So first would be administrative and legal records. Second is financial and purchasing records, and these are only for certain years that the state legislature allows. Fire records, information technology records, parks and recreation records, payroll records, personnel records, planning, building, zoning, code enforcement records, police records, public health records, public works, engineering records, tax collection and assessment records, waste management and sewer disposal records, and how the ordinance is stated that the township manager actually has to approve the destruction before it happens. So we're just recommending, this is a standard operating procedure that this is done every so many years.
Thank you. And I don't know if I see, what is the name of it's like PHMRC? What are the letters of the?
It's the Pennsylvania Historic and Museum Commission. It's sort of a quirk of Pennsylvania law that the entity that, runs the museums sets the rules that all the municipalities follow with respect to disposition of records. So you have to inventory them, list them, advertise them, take public action, and then and only then you can destroy the actual physical records.
Thank you.
And this is the updated one, Zach, because I think the one we were using before was a little outdated.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Does anyone have any questions at this time or any discussion? I'll go ahead and make the motion to approve the resolution for disposition of the records. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. No one said they had any discussion before. I'll call the vote. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. That's going to be Resolution R-2026 4. All right. We can go on to the next item when you're ready.
Okay, so the next item is 3 financial security reduction requests. One's for 9009 Bridge Road, that's the Wawa. Second is for a single family dwelling at 7691 Chambers Hill Road. And then the last one is for 3 single family dwellings called the Branton Estates on Chambers Street. We're recommending that those reductions per engineer review and approval.
All right. Do I have a motion?
Motion.
I'm going to amend your motion to include items 11, B, C, and D. So we can do them all at once.
I'll make a motion that we combine the financial security reductions, D, C, and D.
Thank you. Do I have a second? I'll second. All right. Any discussion with regard to the financial security reductions?
Same discussion as always, have to do, Zach, just to make sure that they meet the township requirements when we get into the reductions, so we don't find ourselves in a situation that you had to clean up when you got here.
Any further discussion?
Brief explanation for folks new to the issue. When a developer gets an approved plan, they have to submit financial security to guarantee that they're going to do the work that's required under the plan, especially for public improvements. As they do the improvements then and build it out, they can apply and get their security reduced, reflecting the work that they have now in the ground. And the engineer goes out and inspects that work to make sure that it's done and it's complete and it's to our standards. And once that's done, the engineer will recommend that amount of money be released from the security.
Thank you for that explanation for the public.
I have a question, Madam President, if I may.
Mm-hmm.
Zach, so a project, let's say, that was done or started in 25, and now it's 26, let's say we get to November, we have another release, and obviously costs have increased. Do the engineers take that into consideration? Because I don't think I've ever asked that question.
For stormwater, we have a provision in our code that requires an automatic increase of 10% every year. And Mike and Matt from HRG are very good with keeping track of the time.
Right.
So it does increase.
Okay.
That was a good question. Thank you for that. I've never asked that either. All right. Any further questions or discussion at this time? All right, hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, items B, C, and D under 11 are approved. We're up to 11E, zoning map amendment application for tax parcel 63-023-084.
And if you don't mind, Madam President, I'm going to kind of combine both as the same property owner. So the second one is 63-023-085. The township received 2 zoning map amendment applications from Dan Reed of MER Properties LLC on December 8th, 2025. The first application seeks to rezone, which we already stated, one of the parcels which has no address, from single-family residential RS to medium-density limited residential RML. The second application seeks to rezone the second parcel, which has no address, from RS to RML as well. It appears that the reason for the rezoning request is so the applicant can construct 2 twin dwelling structures, think of a duplex, the same kind of concept, for a total of 4 new dwelling units. Twin dwelling units are not permitted within the RS zoning district. The Pennsylvania Municipal Planning Code does not require governing bodies to act on zoning text or map amendment applications. Therefore, the Board of Commissioners can simply ignore or deny the request without Township or County Planning Commission input. However, with that said, staff does recommend forwarding the request to the Planning Commission, both Planning Commissions, for review and comment, and also Mr. Reed is here as well to present his application.
Zach, is that, oh, Madam President, I apologize.
You're
May I
fine.
speak? I tried to look this up for the meeting myself, and for some reason the county site, I just couldn't grab it. I don't know if it was difficult for you too.
It was very difficult for me.
Yeah.
But I was able to pull it up on our tax map.
Okay.
I believe that the county's GIS software has a different tax code, which is incorrect.
Where's the 084 at, that parcel number? Is that right? Okay.
Here it's also showing up incorrect.
That's
It's actually
040, right.
these 2 parcels here. If you can see my mouse.
Okay.
I'll pull up.
So it's not that third one that's to the far right?
Correct. That's correct.
Can you pull that map back up for me real quick?
Sure.
Yeah, because that's what I was actually trying to look at to determine.
It's only these 2.
Okay.
I'm not sure why this is automatically pulling this third one from to the south here, but it's only these 2. And then
Yeah. Changed anything, but the deeds are accurate, everything's accurate except for
the parcel.
The parcel
Yeah,
viewer.
I'm online when the agenda come out looking, just so I have some understanding, and I couldn't pull it, so thank you.
So what I'm proposing to do, it's basically the same impervious square footage. Twin dwellings, I think the only thing that I would be adding is combined over what is already approved is 1,400 square feet, and that could be adjusted of impervious space, but that is between the 2 parcels.
So yeah, if this would get approved later down the road, he would have to come before you again with the land development plan. So just keep that in mind.
Are we combining these 2, Zach? Into
No.
one parcel, or we're still keeping them separate?
It would be separate.
Okay. I'll make a motion to move it on to the county and the township planning commission for both items E and F.
There you go. We have a motion and a second. Do we have any further questions or discussion at this time? All right. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you. We're up to item 12 with reports. We'll go to Treasurer Yarzinski and hear the treasurer's report.
Yes. This is the treasurer's report for the month ending December 31st, 2025. There was a beginning balance in all funds of $22,725,545.68. We received $7,366,009.32. We dispersed $9,914,581.58 with an ending balance total in all funds of $20,176,973.42.
Thank you. I'll make a motion that we accept the treasurer's report. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right. Do we have any discussion or questions at this time? All right. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. We are up to, thank you, Treasurer Yarzinski. We're up to 12B, a solicitor's report.
Just one item. I'll be providing the full analysis to the board, but there were some folks in the audience who had questions at the last meeting. The new appointee to the zoning hearing board holds no incompatible offices and is therefore fully qualified to be a member of the zoning hearing board. Unless there are any questions, that's my report.
Does anyone have any questions at this time?
What would that be? I guess, and I was under the same premise because I talked to Commissioner Conley and I'm like, that made no sense. So could you give us an example of what
would exclude you?
What would exclude you? What Mr. Bear was talking about?
Either being a township employee or an appointee of public office, which means a public office that this board appoints. So a person serving on the Stormwater Authority, for example, is appointed by this board and therefore could not serve on the zoning hearing board. Zach, who's an employee of the township, would not, even though he's extremely well qualified and would be a good member, is not permitted to be on the zoning hearing board. The idea behind the zoning hearing board is it's quasi-judicial, so it's supposed to be independent.
Right. Thanks, Scott.
I do have a follow-up question. While I was looking into this from public safety, because we had two people question it, I believe it was Mr. Bear and Mr. Tuckey, would simply being on being a member of a township group be disqualifying? You're saying that you have to be an officer or a board of directors, but if you were on emergency management or the fire department, the Swatara Fire Rescue. I know this issue was specifically not Swatara Fire Rescue.
Right.
Would that disqualify you, or could it? Is that a case-by-case basis, or is that automatic?
There is a little bit of a case-by-case thing where you have to look more closely at it, but generally speaking, if the public elects the person, that's public office, so that's one disqualifying way. And the other one is if this board appoints someone to an official government position. And the fine point there is if you do make an appointment, is it really township or is it township adjacent or something like that. But generally speaking, the basic test is are they an employee or elected by the public or appointed by the board.
Okay, because through the process, I looked up who was a member of different things, and there is a current member on the zoning hearing board that's also a member of a public safety board, but I don't know that they were necessarily appointed. They may have volunteered for it, but I'll give you the information. I'm not trying to disqualify anybody, but I mean, since it was raised in a similar situation, maybe I'll just give you the information I have, and if you would look at it.
Yeah, it's important to get that resolved because you don't want to call into question the validity of any actions taken by the zoning hearing board. And if it is an incompatible office, that person, has the opportunity to stay on the zoning hearing board and resign the other position, arguably, or stay in the other position if it's important and resign from the zoning hearing board.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time, and I know Mr. Tuckey's here, but could we at least make sure that Mr. Bear is aware that his public question was answered?
Will do.
Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any questions at this time? All right, thank you. We'll move on to fire services and EMS report.
Thank you, Madam President and members of the board, members of the public. I present to you the December 2025 Swatara Fire Rescue Report. In December, we responded to 182 calls for service, 5 calls in Pakistan Borough. We responded to 26 fires, 35 medical emergencies, 13 hazardous conditions, 23 service calls, 30 good intent calls, 41 false alarms. December closed out our busiest year on record. Swatara Fire Rescue responded to 1,658 calls for service in 2025, which is a lot. I will have a more detailed end of the year report in the coming weeks for the members of the board and members of the public that will highlight some of our accomplishments throughout the year and have some more statistical data with it. For the month, we had 5,392 hours of staffing, 51 training hours. That number is lower than what it typically is, but it's December and there's a lot going on, and we tend to not do much training during those months. Our average response time was 4 minutes and 50 seconds. Mutual aid, we provided mutual aid 34 times and received mutual aid 39 times. We also stayed actively involved in the community for the holiday season. Members participated in the Swatara Township tree lighting, multiple Santa runs all over the township, and Paxton Borough, Shop with a Cop, which is one of the firefighters and my favorite events. Awesome event. It's a great event. The Steel High first responder lunch and a birthday party drive-by. That's all I have for December's report. I will like just to point out, typically I don't talk about fires unless they are from the previous month, but we recently had a fire, particularly in the Chambers Hill area. Our first engine company arrived on the scene 2 minutes and 18 seconds. I know there was some question on how that can happen, but I'm going to address a few things with that. Number one, when we have firefighters in station, they have to eat. It has been questioned by the board and the public numerous times throughout my tenure here of why we allow firefighters to take the big trucks to the grocery store. Well, this is why. Engine 91.5 out of Rutherford was staffed that day, and they were heading to Giant to get food to cook for their lunch. And when the call was dispatched, they were halfway across the 63rd Street Bridge. They immediately responded, and they performed, I hate to use the word flawless because you can always find something, but they did awesome. Awesome job for, they think they're going for lunch, and they go to someone's house who's on fire. I can tell you that the residents were very happy with our services. There was some commissioners out there that got to meet the residents and kind of see what we do. But I just want to point that out because I think it's and I understand why people question why we take the big trucks to the grocery store. But if they wouldn't have, they would have had to wait for someone to drive back to the station, or if they would have been a pickup truck, drive back to the station, get it. That's going to add another few minutes. And in this particular instance, almost all of the damage outside of some water damage and a little bit of heat and smoke damage was held to the garage where the fire started. And that was 100% that initial engine company that got there and did their job very well. So thank them and thank you for giving me the time this evening. Is there any questions for me?
Good.
This board does not question or never question why we take a vehicle to the grocery store, so I'd just like to put that correction out there.
Correct.
I've always understood it, and I think the other two members from the previous board do too.
I just want to add that, yes, I was there. I actually got a call from Commissioner Benita. She said, come quickly to my house. Halfway there, I was going in the wrong direction because I realized I don't even know where she lives. I don't know why I just started driving. So by the time I realized that, I passed the entire action because I actually live in Chambers Hill. When I came back, she said, just come to the school. But going down the hill there, I've seen, I witnessed to a lot of fires. That was immaculate. Again, you're right. Something can go wrong. You don't want to jinx it, but that was beautiful. It was flawless. It was clean. So thank you. Thanks very much.
Just to reiterate, that shows the importance of having firefighters in the stations. Even if they would have been in the station, you probably could add another minute and a half, 2 minutes to the response time. That's just getting on the street within a minute and 30 seconds. You can make up your time and distance. So it is extremely important. In the end of the year report, you will get a lot of data from me. I'll be able to tell you With our new software that we started using last year, we have our staffing tracked 100%. So I can tell you how much of the time we have 3 firefighters in a firehouse. I can tell you how much of the time we have 4 firefighters, 5, 6, 7, 8. And you know, there's going to be a lot of good data for you and the residents to look at. So thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to add something. At the time that this was happening, I was on the phone with Chief Stauffer. And before anybody says anything, it was hands-free. I was following the law. And I heard sirens, and I thought the chief had said that, you know, same thing, he was heading home. He was on his in-car system. So I thought it had something to do with him. And I realized when I got to the 40 and 8, I was taking my 2 grandchildren to Chocolate World. And when I got to the 40 and 8, I saw a lot of flashing lights, and it was me that could hear the siren as it was following me. And I pulled over at the 40 and 8, and obviously let them go by, and they didn't go far. When they turned on Cockley, I thought, oh my goodness. So I was, you know, asking what was going on. At that point, it was being dispatched. And then Chief Everson passed me in his vehicle, and I looked down the street, and only through campaigning, I knew that your address was there, and I was very concerned, but the firefighters were doing what they needed to do. I dipped in around Hoffman, and it really looked like it was under control when they had it. I left, and then I think it was 15 or 20 minutes later, I got pictures of you two, or shortly after that, at the scene. And when I came back from Chocolate World, I pulled into the neighborhood, didn't go past the fire police, respected the boundaries, and got to hear some of the positives from the community of what was going on. So, and it was a nice day. I mean, it was lunchtime. I mean, for that to happen like that, and for the firefighters to be together in fire apparatus that could handle the situation, actually heading there and cut the distance in half. And the irony with that is, after doing something that great, I saw like things on Facebook that were negative. Like people saying, how could they get there so quick? How fast were they driving? Because people assumed that they left from one of the stations. So I just want to say great job. And I also want to say, no matter how great of a job our firefighters do, it's unfortunate that there's going to be critics. But I want to back up with, normally I would say Commissioner Steele, but I'm going to back up what Chief Steele said. I feel like this board is extremely supportive of our public safety, and I'm proud of what we do. I'm proud of what you two do, and please let everybody know that was involved in that incident that we're here for them. We know that they're here for the community, so thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone have anything further?
Madam President, also, I don't want to steal from your thunder, Chief, but also Jack back there with the drone, outstanding work as well. Thank you. Teamwork making the dream work. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, we'll go ahead and move on now to the Police Department and Community Service Report.
Thank you, Madam
Superintendent
President.
Stauffer.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. I have the Police Department report for the month of December 2025. In the township, we had 1,258 calls for service, and in Paxtang Borough, we had 48 for a grand total of 1,306 calls. Under the Part 1 crimes section, we had 30 reported assaults, 1 burglary, 34 larcenies, and 5 motor vehicle thefts for a total of 70 Part 1 crimes. And the Part 2 crimes section, we had 4 forgeries, 14 reported frauds, 2 embezzlement cases, 12 vandalism cases, 1 weapons violation, 3 sex offenses, 21 drug offenses, 1 family offense, 5 DUIs, 1 liquor offense, 8 public drunkenness offenses, 12 disorderly conducts, and 31 crimes reported that fit in the category of all others, for a total of 115 Part 2 crimes. On page 2 of the report, in December we had a total of 64 arrests, 5 DUI arrests,
29 traffic citations were issued and 59 traffic warnings were issued. There were 13 non-traffic citations written and 15 parking violations, 14 foot patrols, and 7 school foot patrols. Under the crime and call trends section, you'll see that in December, our Part 1 crimes did go up slightly. The Part 2 crimes went down slightly as compared to the previous month, and our calls for service were up just a little bit from November. Year to date, though, all 3 of those categories are down as compared to the same statistics from 2024. So it looks like we ended the year pretty well. And in our community services division, we had 6 events and presentations in December. There were no enforcement programs. We collected 10.35 pounds of unused prescription medication in the drug drop box and had 10 mix-app inspections. And you'll see the grand total number there from the drug drop box for the year was 625.26 pounds worth of unused or expired prescription medication, which is fantastic. Our highlighted events of the month out of the Community Services Division, we actually had 2 different Shop with a Cop events. On December 7th, Lieutenant Kraling and Detective Seiler attended a Shop with a Cop event at Ollie's of Harrisburg, which was hosted by the Penn State Harrisburg basketball team. And on December 13th, like Chief Iverson mentioned, we joined the fire department and the Harrisburg Area Police Athletic League at Walmart. The event sponsored over 120 kids in and around the Harrisburg area. Walmart and Highmark served as the major sponsors for the event, and there were over 30 law enforcement personnel assisting at the event from all over Dauphin County. And we have 1 upcoming event listed, that's the Citizens Police Academy. The police department is currently accepting applications for the 2026 Citizens Police Academy. The deadline for applying is January 19th. The academy is designed for those who are seeking a career in law enforcement or for anyone who is interested in learning more about what the police do on a daily basis. The program runs for 10 weeks, every Monday night from 6 p.m. until 8 p.m. right here at the Township building. Each class features a different topic in policing. The program is open to the general public to include those who live outside of Swatara Township and Paxton Borough as well. The minimum age to attend this academy is 16, and to apply, just download an application from swatarapolice.org. And that is the conclusion of the report. The complete breakdown of all of our calls and crimes from December are attached. They'll also be posted in the lobby, and they'll be on the website as well. And I can take any questions.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions at this time?
I have a comment. I want to thank you and the police department for your involvement in our Adopt a Child at Christmas program. We did it the same night that the fire did theirs, so I didn't thank Chief Iverson, so this is really for both of you. The difference is the fire families came to the building. We had a situation that might have involved some transportation, and Corporal Pocrop went to the home of the police child that we've adopted. And this is a program that we've been doing for several years, and we try to enhance it and add more each year. This year we had 4 children. I want to say the range was 5 to 10 years old in the community, that a recommendation comes in to us to see if we can help make Christmas and the holidays more special for them and their family. And our police officers and firefighters do an incredible job, and they put their heart into it. And in this particular case, it involved going to a home, a small window of opportunity to catch the child at the home. And Corporal Pocrop did it. And I almost feel like I saw like tears between some of the police and some of the fire. And I appreciate both of you for making that happen. And I also appreciate the people in the public, businesses, people that donate, because that's not something that we can really put in our budget, but if we get funds, we can help there. And I just want to tie that into, your statistics showed that overall calls for service, this is when somebody calls the police and there's a problem, that's going down. That's down over 729 calls. in this year. But at the same time, your outreach into the community and talking to our kids and our families and doing things is going up. So we really do have, great community policing here. And I love the trend, appreciate what you do, and looking forward to another great year. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I'll pass on the credit to our police officers. They work very hard, and they're a fantastic group of people. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Before we move on, Chief Iverson, did you want to revisit the fire family thing? It looked like you wanted to say something that...
It's fine. I mean, we got the gist of it. It was our annual fire event. I don't know why I did not mention it. Yeah, you guys can talk about it.
Okay.
Well, you did great with it.
Yes.
And everybody that helped.
Yep.
And I have a feeling that your wife wrapped the gifts. I'm just going to put that out there because...
there was a group of them that wrapped.
Okay, but it looked
a lot of wrapping.
Really nice.
All right. We'll go ahead and move on to item 12E, the Public Works and Recreation Report. And we'll turn it over to Interim Manager Trafka.
Thank you, Madam President. I'll quickly go over the December monthly report for Public Works and Parks. Public Works and Parks participated in the Christmas tree lighting event on December 2nd. It conveniently decided that it was going to snow that day also, so I'll get to that in a second. As I said in the stormwater meeting, we were able to complete leaf collection for 2025. Public Works staff and Parks and Recs performed snow removal operations on 12/2, 12/13, 12/14, 12/15, 12/26, and 12/30. It's probably the busiest December I can remember in a long, long time. So luckily, so far, knock on wood, January hasn't been as bad. The Parks and Rec staff continues the park maintenance as time permits. I just want to touch real quick on two exciting things. The swing sets at Ivy Ridge have been installed. The Parks and Rec staff did all the excavating for the new swing sets and also did the removal of the play set at the crest and the excavating there. So both those play pieces are actually installed right now. If the weather window keeps going, we're going to try and get the playground button back up, stone in, playground mulch and everything ready and opened up as soon as possible, but no later than spring for sure. So that is the end of my report.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions at this time? All right. Hearing none, we'll go ahead and move on to item 13. We are up to consideration of ordinance 2026 budget. I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion.
I'll second. By way of discussion, Treasurer Yarzinski, Finance Director as well, if you want to give just a brief overview for the public.
Sure, yep. It is just for the public's knowledge. It's the same budget exactly that we've been working on in December in the budget meetings leading up. There have been absolutely no changes to the one that has been posted on the website or in the front of the office. If anyone came to view it, there have been no changes.
Thank you. All right. Does anyone have any discussion with regard to the budget ordinance at this time? All right. Hearing none.
I got a question.
Sure.
Maybe I should tell me exactly how much is in the general funds, like an exact amount, and where we anticipate that after the train loan.
That would be a question for Mr. Yarzinski. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Are you able to provide that information?
I'm not good enough to tell you the exact amount that is in the general fund this second, but I could tell you That the Tran was paid, the 25 Tran was paid off? Was that your question?
Yeah, well, it's actually a little more comprehensive than that, and I know you don't have that time right now.
Okay.
Okay, I'm done.
Okay. I would say, just if you look at the treasurer's report with the ending balance of 292,000, it is not too far off from that. I just don't want to give a false answer because I can't say off the top of my head. But it's about that.
Do we have any further discussion with regard to the budget? I do want to say thank you to Vice President Steele and Commissioner Connolly. They were the co-chairs of finance and worked diligently on this. And I want to thank all of the department heads and staff. You guys worked really hard to keep everything tight where it needed to be so that you know, we can continue working towards a better financial situation. So, that being said, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, that's going to be ordinance 2026-1. All right, we're up to item 14. I'll make a motion for approval of PFM Financial Advisors LLC agreement for financial services and retainer. Do we have a second?
Second that. Second.
Thank you. And for the public, PFM has been our financial advisor the entire length that I've been on the board. They're paid by retainer. There is a $5,000 increase, I believe, to $20,000 is the amount that we will pay for this contract. Is that correct? Okay. But they provide wonderful information to us. They give us lots of guidance and they help us with financial decisions. Do we have any further discussion at this time?
I think for what we pay, their time and their effort is invaluable. There is a lot of expenditures that go through the township and a lot of different funds, and when you can ask the financial advisors the proper way to do things, such as your proper documentation as your expenditures, or even actually looking in and studying our finances to if we make a decision, what that will do for future outcomes. And PFM has always done that for us, as well as secondary. I guess you would call it almost like a secondary audit for projections of our finances. The last time we had them, I think they projected 5 years for us. So I think this service is invaluable to the township and the residents, because Ben and his group have always provided great service.
Thank you. Do we have any further comments or discussion with regard to the agreement? All right, hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, that is approved. We're up to item 15, approval to extend township interim manager agreement. I will make that motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, and by way of discussion, Kevin Trafka was named our interim township manager. I believe the vote took place in September of last year. The contract expired on the 5th of January, and now this one, we are extending the exact same contract until February 28th. So at this point, that's where we're at, just to make sure that we have the same agreement in place moving forward, so that he can be compensated for the job that he's doing.
I have discussion.
Sure.
Kevin's been with the township for, I believe, 26, 27 years. For those of you that were here for the first meeting tonight, he is also the person that handles director of the stormwater. And I know that he is close to the end of his career. And I think that he's doing this township and the citizens a service by staying, on longer than probably what he had planned. So we appreciate that. We're not going to have him forever, but I know that the discussion is he'll be around at least for another year. He's the interim manager now. Tonight, we're just extending the interim contract, and then, we'll see where it goes from there, but I would expect that he would be named the manager. And I just want to say thank you for everything you do and personal sacrifices that you make for the township. And he knows the township like the back of his hand. He does an incredible job. He's worked for the authority, so he knows the sewer. He's worked with the stormwater, which is relatively new here. It's a government mandate that we have to manage the stormwater. We prefer probably to have somebody else do it, but we're required to do it, so he really handles that well. And there's not a question that I've asked him on any subject that he doesn't know a lot about initially, and then we'll find out more. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any further discussion at this time?
I have a few, Madam President, as far as the agreement. I don't have it in front of me, but I did read it in detail, and I was a no back in September, and I'm going to continue to be a no. And there's several reasons why I'll continue to be a no. The Joint Personnel Committee, when I first discussed the township manager, they had met and interviewed managers, and one of my requests to this board was that for a position such as this, that I would get an opportunity in executive session to ask certain questions. I know Kevin's capabilities to a certain extent, but there are questions that I would need to ask. Whether that would take place in executive session because it could be considered a personnel matter for an interview. I believe I have that right to interview the candidate that's going to be the interim manager, and I've voiced that once before. Just to make sure that individuals within their scope to handle the duties, because there is a difference between being the manager of stormwater, being the manager of a sewer, and being the manager of public works, to being the chief administrator of the township. And part of that comes with a deficient general fund where you should have some financial background, and I didn't get to ask Kevin if he has that. That's just one example, and I have a plethora of other questions. But the things that I really want to highlight on is the agreement. One, there's no performance standards within the agreement. I know it says essentially that it would go along with the first class township code, but there's no real deliverables or performance standards. So if I'm wrong, can we get a job description, or are we going to have a job description for this position?
Not going to do that at this time, but I think
to the Joint Personnel Committee's decision to provide
when
the board of commissioners with the ability to interview those final candidates. That was our decision.
right.
There was a candidate.
When we get to visitors' requests and comments, definitely you can.
Yeah, no, I was going there, Director Zubek, but that's further down in my comments. So is there going to be a job description with this position? Because the first class township code and the ordinance that it referenced for Swatara Township, basically generic. So are we going to get a job description with this position?
Well, you were the previous personnel committee head. Did you work on a job description previously? I just took it over in January. So if there is one that was being worked on, if you forward it to me, I can finalize it.
There's always been a job description, and that was some of the argument when we went through the township manager, and a portion of that was that the qualification, so it was supposed to be reworked, but that must mean a no, and I understand that. The duties are defined broadly, essentially defined by statute, but not by township specifically. And I guess this is the question possibly to the solicitor. What is the terms of this agreement?
I think that the agreement itself, which was drafted by my colleague, Zach Rice, is to terminate on February 28th as the interim agreement with a limited duration. That's
Okay.
my understanding.
What is, does anyone know, because there was some ambiguity in this contract, what is the cap on compensation?
Kevin will continue to do the 20 hours that was within the agreement the previous time.
Yeah, so that would, Madam President, that would make actually no cap, because the agreement says expected to dedicate 20 hours per week at $125 an hour, so there would be no cap on compensation. And mind you, I did ask, so I didn't have to have this discussion in public, that this would be brought back off and Kevin could continue in the role because he's already done that.
What are the manager performance standards defined in this agreement? Are there any?
So again, this was passed by the Board of Commissioners last year. It's the same agreement. You're aware of that. You're a part of the board. We had a lapse in the time that the previous agreement expired. So we are extending it so that we can work on what the future for the manager position is going to be. So you are on the board. You're aware of all of the answers to these questions. So if you have something that you want to state to the public, you can just do so. You don't need to ask questions that you know the answer to.
So at 20 hours a week, are we saying now that the manager's position is part-time?
No.
Okay.
Kevin also holds the position of the Director of Utilities. So essentially he's doing two jobs. So that's why the compensation is what it is.
Okay. And if my math is correct, current salary is about $110,000 a year now.
And I do just want to say for the public too, we generally don't discuss salaries and things like that of this board. I think that's in poor taste, but so you can go ahead and continue, but I just want to put that out there for the public.
That's public information, Madam President. About $110,000 is the current salary. And if we were to pay 20 hours at $125 an hour, that'd be about $2,500 a week. So we're looking at a salary about $240,000 a year, not including taxes on the 130. And I don't know if that would be compensated. Is this agreement written where at his $125 an hour, we would have to contribute to his retirement as well? Because that's something that I didn't see either.
I do believe that was addressed, that it's not anything over and above his current position as the manager of utilities. I'm pretty sure that was addressed because last year and again this year.
Employer taxes, or we'd also have to pay towards his, obviously his government pension?
I think it's payroll income, so whatever the other costs are that go along with the payroll income, I think would apply to this. That's fine. In other words, it's not 1099
right
contractor compensation as we had with a previous manager type.
And then I just have one last question, because these are the reasons why I didn't want it on the agenda. I did actually want to speak in executive session. I thought I tried to concede and do my due diligence instead of having to speak in public about this again. Are we going to hire a full-time manager? Because looking at this, it's $130,000, $110,000 for the other position, and the Joint Personnel Committee did meet and they did their due diligence, and they sent us a letter back. They sent this board a letter back recommending 2 candidates. Are we going to choose those 2 candidates, or are we going to go back through the interview process?
I intend to have an individual on the agenda next month for the manager position.
So we're not going to go with the recommendation of the Joint Personnel Committee?
I don't have that in front of me to speak to it, so I can't.
The recommendation was Kevin Trafka and Treasurer Yarzensky.
Right, I don't remember, again, that's fine, but yeah, right now we're not discussing that. You can bring that question up when we get to that, when it's on the agenda in February. But I don't have an answer for that portion of it right now, because we are voting on the interim contract.
Will these commissioners get an opportunity before February to interview the new candidate?
Sure, I can make that happen. That's fine.
And will the new candidate, in order for it to be a cost-shared position, it will have to go through the Joint Personnel Committee. So will that go through the Joint Personnel Committee, or will the township eat the 100% cost of that position?
That is to be determined at this point.
Okay. That's all I have, Madam President. The last thing that I do have is divide the House on the vote, please.
Yep. Do we have any further discussion at this time?
I just want to say, after multiple advertisings to get a manager, from what I was told, over 100 candidates, we're down to Kevin and Brittany, 2 excellent candidates. So I'm not sure what all this discussion is about. So that's
all right.
I actually have something, Madam President. The term, or anybody could probably answer this for me. The term of agreement shall commence on the effective date and shall continue through February 28, 2026. Is there an actual termination date for this interim?
No, but I do believe in the language it states that it could be terminated by either party.
Yes,
so,
I did see that.
Yeah, so
14 days.
Let's see here. Kevin, doing a position, what position is that right now?
Right now, he holds dual positions.
Okay.
Technically, the interim manager position expired on January 5th, but he is the manager of utilities, which I believe I said already.
Yeah. Yeah. Is there a dedicated amount of hours for him to complete his task for that week for utilities?
That is his full-time job. The 20 hours is over and above his regular 40 hours. So again, we're very fortunate to have him, that he is willing to do this and willing to sit up here. Unfortunately, he's going to be the one to call the vote this evening. So, again, a lot of this was unnecessary, but it's in public and you can have the discussion in public.
So there is not a set max amount of hours.
The agreement is for 20 hours. That's what he did before. That's what he will do, what he's continued to do, frankly, even with the lapse in expiration of the previous agreement.
I think I could answer his question, Madam President. As the previous chair of personnel, the township requires our employees to work 40 hours, so he would have 40 hours plus an additional 20.
Right.
So he would have a 60-hour work week. So he'd be working 12 hours a day.
How's that broken down? Is he working on the weekends off? Is he needed? Possibly, quite possibly.
That's not something that I can answer right now. And I think, again, if you want to have these discussions with regard to personnel, you are now the personnel chair. So these are things that you can work on finding without, again, subjecting one of our employees to this public discussion of their duties and their salary.
But mind you, Madam President, I tried not to.
Right, but the agreement expired, and we should compensate someone that's doing the job.
I totally understand that, but I tried to discuss this in executive session and hold off, and I was told.
Right, well, I wasn't holding it off because we don't have another meeting this month. So, and again, we have someone that is doing a job, and I want to make sure that they're compensated for the job that they're doing. So that's why it's on the agenda.
I definitely understand, Madam President. I get it. We have to pull whatever we can do. I get that. I don't have any issues with that at all. I just would like some of this black and white to be more, have clarity in it, that's all.
Okay. Well, again,
thank you very much. And thank you, Kevin, because I know you're working hard. We see it. Okay? We see it.
And again, the firm that we employ for solicitor is who worked on this agreement. They worked on the previous one. So it's the same thing as what was approved last year. And I think that our attorneys do a fine job, so I'm comfortable with the agreement. So do we have any further discussion at this time?
I just want to make clear, because I said this the last time when Kevin was a part of discussion. Kevin's a rock star. Let's not mince words. Kevin does a great job. Kevin will do whatever you ask him to do. I think the quarrel that I have is with the agreement and shoring up some things with the agreement and making sure some things are in place, because essentially, I just like Commissioner Douglas just said, I have to assume that Kevin has to work 60 hours a week, and I'm sure he was going down the road is that feasible? Is that manageable? And is that wise and smart from our standpoint to tell Kevin he has to work 60 hours a week? So I think a job description would define some of that, and I think if we can shore up this agreement, we would be fine. I think all five would probably be in favor of it, and I just wanted to throw it out there. This is not about Kevin Trafka, the individual. This is about the agreement that was written.
Well, again, I have full faith in the attorneys that we employ, and I think I appreciate Zach Rice for taking the time to work on the agreement. So, do we have anything else at this time? All right. Interim Manager Trafka, could you call the vote, please?
Commissioner Conley?
Yes.
Commissioner Ray?
Yes.
Commissioner Douglas?
No.
Vice President Steele? No. President Ellis?
Yes.
Motion carries 3-2.
Thank you. We're up to item 16, approval to rescind resolution 2025-64, a temporary no parking request at 371 Worcester Avenue.
I got a motion.
Second.
And a second. And Superintendent Stauffer, for the public, can you just give a brief explanation?
Absolutely. So back in December, the board approved a temporary no parking order for this particular resident because of a construction project. That portion of the construction project that required the temporary no parking has now been completed. So there's no need for a no parking zone up on Worcester Avenue at that location. So we can rescind those.
Thank you. And I do have a question for you, Solicitor Weiland. Is the way that this is written acceptable? I wasn't sure if we needed to do a resolution for this item or if we can just do a motion to rescind it.
Yeah, there's an argument that a motion is basically an oral resolution, so
Okay.
we don't need anything too
Okay.
formal. I think the vote itself will do it.
All right, sounds good. All right, do we have any questions from the board? All right, hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. We are up to item 17, approval of traffic study for Swatara Township Municipal Complex from Mans Woodward.
Make that a motion.
Wasn't it, I guess I'll second, but wasn't this already in our cost? Or am I missing that? That wasn't in our initial cost?
It was not.
Okay, so we missed that. All right.
This is an additional traffic
Yeah,
study.
no,
And do you have
I
further
thought we had
information?
that.
on that?
Well, initially, we weren't sure that it was going to be required.
Do we?
So PennDOT has required it.
Where? Because I mean, we're not doing anything to Eisenhower Boulevard. The building here will still stand. Everything's out the back, or is it for East Executive Park Drive?
So they're going to be studying 5 intersections as required by PennDOT. We had a scoping meeting and they're stating due to the capacity of the fire trucks and the police vehicles and everything else, we have to do it, unfortunately. The main concern is the intersection of Swatara Drive here and Eisenhower Boulevard.
Yeah.
Chambersburg and Executive Park Drive is already going to be taken care of from another project.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Are we going to piggyback off? Are we going to piggyback off the school here?
We are, exactly.
Okay.
Yep.
Are we going to? I guess their traffic study will account as ours as well.
For that intersection, correct. And no improvements will be necessary from us on that intersection.
And for the public, the total proposed fee for this contract is $30,750. And again, this is something that PennDOT required, so we really don't have much of a say in moving forward with this. So do we have any further discussion from anyone at this time? All right, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. We are up to item 18, approval to order 2029 Pierce Enforcer Heavy Duty Rescue Pumper.
I'm going to make a motion for 18, 19, and 20.
Second.
Second? Okay. Just due to the fact that I think this deserves discussion, I think it deserves a vote. Obviously, Madam President, if I can go right in discussion with it, if that's okay with you. I did ask for this to be presented in a manner that could be presented to the public. I do have some understanding that the heavy rescue, and correct me if I'm wrong, Chief Epperson, but I think the heavy rescue was damaged May of 23, maybe 24. I think it was total.
No, it was either 22 or 23. I don't remember the exact.
So you mean, you know, that would need replacing, and we have the potential for some very bad accidents and some things, and that's a specialty rescue. I did not know that the tower was getting replaced, and the heavy duty pumper was essentially, we didn't know that rescue at Rutherford was going to be totaled, right? My only concern, because I know you well and I know what you're trying to do here, and I said this to Madam President, is to me it was disingenuous when I got on the board, and I think there were some expenditures that were already set in stone for me, and for this, what I figured, minus the discounts, if none of the discounts come in, we're looking at about $6 million. Hopefully I'm right on that target, Chief. So even without knowing whether we're going to buy outright or we're going to lease, you're looking at a 10-year lease, which is about $600,000 a year, and that's not including without even having interest. And I can tell you with a guarantee, because I have no intentions of running again, I will not be on this board when this apparatus is delivered. But there will be a new board, and my vote tonight could potentially put a board in a situation that the moment that they're seated, after they are sworn in, they may have to raise taxes. Or they might have the revenue already, and I can understand that. The only thing that I asked, so I could go with a solid yes on this, was that we brought it up tonight just to present to the public, and then we came up with a spending plan on how we're going to acquire this apparatus. And that's not the case, and I support the fire service. I support Chief Iverson. He has a apparatus replacement program. I don't know if you can share that tonight with the public, but you've done a lot of work as it relates to the apparatus replacement program. So that's my only concern is, setting another board up for failure, and I don't know what their projections look like now with a deficient fund now. I can't do it, and I can't bring myself to do it to another board because I didn't like it when it was done to me. So, but I will make the motion for this to go through and move forward with the board. And if you could have provided something, I don't even know if we're going to lease or going to buy outright right now. I have no clue, absolutely none. And I think if I could have been provided with that, then I could have moved forward.
Did you want to give your presentation? Is that?
I don't really have a presentation.
Okay.
I mean, if you want me to talk about each piece briefly, I can.
Yep.
So the first one that's on the list is the rescue pumper, which was in the replacement plan. That's replacing the 2008. So till it gets here, it'll be past its 20-year lifetime. The heavy rescue, Chief Steele, Commissioner Steele is correct. That was totaled. The reason we kind of held off with that is we really started looking at different options to replace that probably 3 years ago. A group of us went to Shippensburg to start looking to see some things that they did. We spent a lot of time on that piece to get it where it needs to be. And then the tower, so till that gets here, it'll actually be replacing the tower we currently have. Will be at 11 years. The thought process behind that is you're looking at 1%, anywhere between 1/4 and 1% cost increase per quarter. And I think the value that the tower will still have, when the new one gets here, it gives us a better value, and we're not going to be competing with that inflation that's going to happen every quarter. So those are the three that are before you, and I believe it's about, just quick math, 4 to 5 million in apparatus.
Just for the public, because I do believe this was a question, the cost of each one individually.
Sure. The heavy-duty rescue pumper is $1,400,017,449. The heavy rescue is $1,519,024, and the tower is $448,785. And I will tell you, just to put some things in perspective, the last tower we bought was just barely over $1 million when we purchased it. It's just it's crazy, the cost of apparatus. This is our baseline, and there's nothing that I can do about the cost.
Some of those costs can come down if prior to, I see in the contract, 90 days prior to estimated final inspection, if the township has $806,000 on hand to pay for that truck, you can save the taxpayers $23,000.
Yes.
Okay.
If there is discounts, they're in the red, and it gives you the parameters of each one. One thing I didn't also read is the projection time for completion. The rescue pumper is 47 to 50 months. The heavy rescue is 42 to 45 months, and the tower is 46 to 49 months. And I do appreciate Chief Steele's comments, Commissioner Steele's comments. Actually, when I did my budget presentation, it was right in the presentation that this is the dilemma that, as a department head, it's hard because we have to do it, but you could be setting new people up for this. Well, you are setting them up for the expense, but I don't know how else to get around it. It's going to take 3.5, 4 years to build these things. I don't know what the answer is, but I get it. Like, you guys are in a bad spot. You used to order a fire truck and it's here within a year. Now it's where it's at, and that's every manufacturer out there. I will add that our mechanic did have the ability to review all these specifications. We've bought Pierce fire trucks, I believe since 2000, I believe, is when we started with Pierce. We've had really good experience with them. And right from the mechanic, the things he looks at is how easy is the service and the parts department to deal with of the manufacturer. And he has nothing but great things to say about dealing with Glick Fire Equipment, who is the dealer for these fire trucks. So
I know one important question that's going to be probably asked of you after the meeting if no one here asked it. And I, obviously with the fire service, me, you, and Brendan understand, and those that understand the fire service are going to understand this question, but why not put this out to bid? What are the specifications as far as safety that the health and safety chief would like to see on this piece of apparatus, as well as yourself, that we're choosing Pierce?
Yeah, so with the safety stuff, almost all of that nowadays is defined by NFPA, and all the manufacturers have to meet it. We totaled a Pierce fire truck, and thank God it was built the way it was, because our driver was pretty much not injured. That thing hit a street sweeper, and I didn't realize this, but those things are like a tank. It did a number on the fire truck, but again, that wasn't injured. But a lot of the safety features, it's not legal for the fire truck to leave the factory without those built in, and more each year, which this is part of why the fire truck costs are going up. Between the safety features and the emissions for the engines, that's part of what's driving the cost up, because they have to meet requirements, and obviously that cost gets passed on to the consumer. But I think the biggest thing is, when it comes down to it, I think there is a few manufacturers that make really good fire trucks. I think for me, as the department head and fire chief, it comes down to Pierce. They are CoStar's contractor, so we don't have to put it out for bid. And the service that we receive from the dealer, we have a truck that obviously is almost it's reaching its 20-year lifespan, and we can still get parts for it. There's some manufacturers that if you need to order a headlight, like you might not see it for 6 months. We don't have those problems with Pierce. They have a lot of their safety stuff is proprietary, but a lot of the common things on the truck are not proprietary, so they can be purchased by our mechanic. So,
Thank you for that.
You're
Do you
welcome.
have any further discussion at this time?
Yeah, I do. When I was first elected in 2013, the prior boards of commissioners, to keep up with expenses, had raised taxes 5 years in a row in Swatara Township. And on the horizon was 3 pieces of fire apparatus that, Chief, you can correct me, I believe that was in the 17, 18 range. So I took my seat in 14. People before me had made the decision, and that's how government works. We come and go, but the safety of the citizens will not stop. And I have faith in this board that we will make the right decision, and we will work towards cutting costs and financing and grants. But to me, this is savings, because we're locking in the contract price now for something that's coming in 42 on the minimum for one piece, but 49 and 50 months from now, over 4 years from now. There isn't a person sitting up here, not one of us has a term that goes beyond that. So we have to make the decisions for the citizens and do the right thing now. So by saving money and replacing, you heard that we're replacing things on a 20-year replacement pattern. It's not like we're just going shopping. Like, we're going to need to provide fire safety this year, next year, 4 or 5 years from now, whether we're here or not. I have 23 months on the term that I'm in. The two newest people, a month is clicking off now, so they're going to have 47 months after tonight's meeting. You still have to make the right decision now for the township for the future. And interestingly enough, Commissioner Steele, Chief Steele, was involved in the fire department. He was not a commissioner when I was faced with those first decisions, but he was involved in speccing out the vehicle and what we needed and what we got. And that was concerning to me as a newly elected person, that we were going to need 3 pieces on my clock. Sometimes years go by and you don't make a replacement. But I'm going to tell you, it's been my experience with police cars. It's been my experience with street sweepers, vac trucks, the snow plows that you see. They have to be replaced, and you can't wait until they're not functioning or they're too old or they're broken down to start the process and make the decision. So all of us are elected by the citizens to make the decisions for this local government, but we have to make them into the future. So I get that burden of saying we're putting this on someone else, but I trust that those people will be able to handle and make good decisions, because what we do, the 5UC, what we do leading up to that, all of the terms that we have will expire before this delivery happens. And to lock in the price now, imagine what vehicles were 4 years ago and what they are today. And then think if that would happen again. If we started the process 4 years from now, it would be off the charts. And yes, it is a lot of money, but to protect almost 30,000 people now in a growing community, we were the fastest growing community in the last census tract. We also provide fire service to Paxton Borough. And just like people provide mutual aid to us, we provide mutual fire service aid in the region. So it is concerning. It's not taken lightly. I agree with pretty much everything that I heard. I will be voting yes, because I've been through it before, and this board is very good. I'm not going to be critical of the other, but I think this board is very good, and I think we can all work towards making this happen for the citizens. Thank you.
Do we have any other discussion at this time?
Yes, Chief, I want to ask the heavy-duty rescuer, again, probably was dozing off here, but what is the age of that again, currently?
The heavy-duty rescue or the rescue pumper?
The heavy-duty rescuer pumper.
Yeah, so that was total. But if it was still in service, it would be at a 20-year mark. Yes, both rescues that you see would be 2008s. So until they get here, they'll be, a year past their 20-year span.
And now that they have expired, what violations or laws are we breaking because of having something so old on the streets?
So right now we're not violating laws, and technically, even if you go past the 20 years, you're not violating laws. We're violating standards, national standards.
Okay.
There's two things. So NFPA, that defines a lot of things in the fire service, fire safety codes, building codes. And then our ISO, our insurance rating. So the insurance rating used to be that if you had a fire truck that was over 20 years old, it would not count towards your ISO score. In today's world, that you can get around that if it's still past all its testing, the pump testing and things like that. But I don't recommend, as busy as we are, I mean, you heard me say we ran, 1,658 calls last year. I do not recommend going past, 20 years. Ideally, if we could ever get on a 10-year replacement cycle, that would be great. And I think the mechanic would like that as well.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
I do have a question with regard to your motion, Vice President Steele. Are you doing it just for 18, or will it be for 18, 19, and 20?
I thought mine was I thought mine was for all of them.
Okay, that's fine. I just want to clarify.
I guess the only question I'm going to have I'm going to answer part of your question. I think now is an opportune time for you, Chief Iverson, to present the long-term plan. And we've had lengthy discussions, hours of this discussion of, trying to adopt some type of plan for future boards. And I think that's how you fix it, right? There are some private sector principles that work in the public sector. And that is that this government must realize what are the priorities of the fire service as far as, and I've said this over the last 2 years, because this is going to be my next piece after we're done with this. This board better make a decision. It better make it fast for a guaranteed fire service. The times of someone dialing 911 and hoping and praying if someone comes is over. 2, we better get smart and we better adopt some type of plan so we don't find ourselves in this same situation. I pitied Commissioner Connolly when he was first elected, and he was faced with this, and I pity the next board that's going to be faced with it. But if we fix it now and start now to fix it, the next board won't be faced with this, and the next board that has to order fire apparatus. I think you have a board of smart individuals, and I think it's time for you to really apply pressure for what your strategic goals are for the guaranteed fire service and future apparatus purchases, so this board can adopt something. So then, like when me, Tom, and Shayla, commissioners, were elected here, or when Benita and Ben came on, there was a working plan that they could continue to work on it and see actually where the strategic value came out. And that includes everything, even the police department as well. I don't want to be long-winded, but do we want a motion that we're going to lease this fire apparatus? Because this is kind of open-ended. I'm willing to change my motion to satisfy the requirement. I mean, I still don't know where we're going to come up with $600,000 a year, but I think it needs to be tied something that this board is going to approve, that when this apparatus comes, it gives the approval that he's able to lease it or buy outright, because essentially he's just ordering with no end in future. So
I will defer to the Public Safety Chair.
I think that's a great idea, and we have almost 42 to 50 months to do it. So for tonight, the motion was on the order of the 3 pieces. I don't see any reason to change that, but certainly can work on what you said moving forward. And Chief Iverson can update us on that as we move forward. But making a decision tonight on the actual financial first steps before we place the order, I just don't think that's.
I'm saying that, Commissioner Connolly, because there are things that you can look at with financing where there's a balloon payment and you're only paying possibly interest from now. So where you go from 2.4, you would go down to 2.1, where you're at 1.5. You could possibly get yourself down to 1.3, and where you're at 1.4, you get yourself down to 1.2. That's a huge savings, because you can negotiate different rates and different schedules of payments. I knew that just by working with our current bakers and PFM. So it's just something to explore. Maybe you bring it back to the board later for a later vote.
Yeah, no,
So,
I agree with that.
If you don't mind, I will. So one thing that I would like to discuss, and I'm not necessarily the finance guy, but the discounts used to be a lot higher on the fire trucks, and the reason for that was if you'd prepay, they would hold your money and they would get interest off it, which essentially would make them money and take the price off. They'd still make money, and your price of the truck would come down. The problem right now, I believe, with that you don't see those huge discounts of paying up front is because of interest rates, and they are so inundated with orders. So I think maybe something to look at is, is it better for us to hold our own money, or is it better for them to hold our money? I don't know that. I think that's something, PFM or whoever will have to look for some guidance from them. But there is different options.
So I have to say, I heard a lot of information just now. Are we at the same time, if there were to be, okay, we're going to get this part over with, and when we do, would there be any thought cost analysis that's going to be presented to the board, or are you going to even get a consideration to keep the board informed, or in the connections with these approvals if it happens? I.e., if you are purchasing something like Commissioner Shane said, how can you get the most bang for our buck, or you're planning to go out there and swipe a credit card?
I think if the board gives the direction for someone, whether it's me or the manager, to work with PFM, I think that would be a good option, because they're the experts.
I just wanted to hear you say it.
Yeah.
I don't want to speak for anyone, but I think there's general consensus that would be fine to work with them. I have a meeting set up with PFM tomorrow, so that's something that I can bring up.
Thank you, Madam President.
Yep. Do we have any further discussion at this time? All right. Interim Manager Trafka, could you do a roll call vote, please?
Sure. Commissioner Conley?
Yes.
Commissioner Ray?
Yes.
Commissioner Douglas?
Yes.
Vice President Steele?
No.
And President Ellis?
Yes.
Motion carries 4-1.
All right. And again, that was for items 18, 19, and 20. So now we are up to item 21, approval of purchase of rescue tools and miscellaneous equipment from Fire Rescue Products.
Motion. Second.
Have a motion and a second. We'll turn it over to you again, Chief Iverson, to just give a brief explanation of the tools that are going to be purchased.
Yeah, I believe this was discussed for probably more than 2 years now. We've been diligently testing. Hydraulic tools is the old way of vehicle rescue. We've been testing the new battery power tools. The technology has greatly improved even within the last 2 years that we've been looking. But the officers that have been involved in the testing made a decision to go with AMPCIS, which FRP is the dealer. They're also co-stars. Along with that, one of the biggest things about the AMPCIS tools is they do not use proprietary batteries. So we're not spending hundreds, really, as many tools as we're going to have, thousands of dollars to replace batteries. They use DeWalt batteries. So that's where some of the extra tools come on there. If you look through the quote, they're actually giving us a lot of DeWalt tools for free. But to make sure everything on all our fire trucks is changed over to DeWalt, so we're using one type of battery. That's why you see those tools on there. So the total quote is $147,364.35, and I am pleased to announce that we have, in the last 2 days, we received $60,000 in grants that will be going towards the tools, and I believe there's still 30,000 or so out there in grants that we're waiting on for the tools.
Just in response to that, you can't put a price on someone's life. And these are rescue tools. And the fact that we need them at the price they are has actually improved by the fact that we're getting the grants to reduce the price for something that we were going to buy anyway. For something like this, we would figure out a way to pay for it. I was fortunate enough to be at one of the demonstrations, and I chaired the committee, but I lay back and let the fire experts make the decision. They saw a couple of different options. They seemed to be excited, and anything that we can do to help save lives, I'm all for it, and I appreciate the 60,000, and hopefully we'll get the other 30. But this is something that we would have to purchase anyway, so great job, thank you.
I think you worded it on right. We did it for 2 years, almost every tool on the market, every battery on the market, and we did. I want to thank the fire departments, because the fire departments normally apply for grants for things that they want to do, and in this instance, it was an effort. This is going to be an effort between all the fire departments, the partnership between the relief department and the relief association and the township. But this is direly needed. The tools that are on their rescues right now are obsolete. So I'm in favor of this 1,000%. And then before you know it, when the new apparatus comes, this will be outdated anyway. Hopefully. Hopefully not. Another generation. But the problem is this generation is already outdated. So.
Yeah, this is definitely the newest. The biggest thing, outside power is the weight. Their Gen 1 was very heavy. I don't even know what gen we're on now, but they have come down in weight, and their cutting force has gone up. So again, I understand big purchase, sticker shock, but I can tell you that our firefighters and Chief Steele was involved. They did a great job. Because it's a process. They're doing all the work, and we take our time to make sure we're doing the right thing and getting the right tools. They put a lot of time and effort into this. So, thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any further discussion at this time? Did we have a motion in a second? I thought we did.
I thought I motioned.
Okay.
Tom, did you second? Or no?
We need a second. Wait a minute.
Second.
Wait a minute, I'm not sure.
I don't remember
where I was on the last one.
I'll make a motion for item 21.
Second.
Okay, there we go. I couldn't remember where we were at either.
I was still on the 20.
Gotcha.
All right. Do we have any further discussion with regard to item 21? All right. Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right. We are up to appointments to boards and commissions. There are a couple appointments that we're going to do this evening. I'm going to go ahead and make the motion, and I'll go through all of them. The majority of these, or all of these, are going to stay the same as they were previously. So I'll make a motion to appoint Commissioner Connolly as delegate and Vice President Steele as the alternate for CapCog. For the Dauphin County Tax Committee, I will make a motion for Treasurer Yarzinski to be the delegate and Commissioner Connolly to be the alternate. For Sewer Authority Liaison, I'm going to make a motion for Commissioner Connolly to continue in that role, and I'll make a motion to reappoint Commissioner Connolly to the Stormwater Board. So do I have a second? Okay. Do we have any discussion with regard to those appointments at this time?
For discussion, if Commissioner Steele wants to be the main CapCog, I could be.
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. Okay. Well, you're missing an extra meeting a month. All right. And to be honest with you, Brittany, you've handled all the tax. So again, that's quarterly, and again, if anyone else is interested in doing that, not going to hurt my feelings, but I'm fine with going. I think.
You have to go to the first 4.
Yeah.
And we have one of those coming up, so that's why the timing for this. All right. Do we have any further discussion at this time? All right. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right, now we are up to item 23, visitors' requests and comments. Same thing, come forward, write your name and address, and then you may begin. We ask that you please try to keep it to the 3 minutes.
This is already here.
You're good. Yep.
Christine Zubek, 6840 Diego Drive. I would just like to, first I want to start by thanking Commissioner Steele for his comments on not passing things on to the next board. Because while Commissioner Connolly stated that he was a victim of that, I was also a victim of that. I dealt with the poor decision making of Commissioner Connolly's board. And I don't think anybody should have to deal with poor management and poor spending and going out and borrowing $20 million and then cutting taxes at the same time. And there was a gentleman from PFM that stood up here and said that that was poor fiscal management. And so when you're having a meeting tomorrow with PFM, I would really appreciate it if you would ask them to come back and look at the last year's budget and this year's budget to ensure that they're balanced like you looked at the prior 5 years. Because I think that's only fair. And then on the fire things, I would like to just talk about the apparatus for a minute. I agree with we need to replace apparatus. And when I was chair of Public Works, we had a replacement schedule for all of our equipment. Commissioner Connolly, you're aware of that. And police has a replacement schedule for all of their equipment. And my concern is when you go out and purchase 3 pieces at the same time, there's no staggering. They might come up at the same time that they all 3 need to be replaced. And that's a concern. And there should be planning for that. And so I just want to remind this board that you need to be thinking about, like Commissioner Steele said, a plan. How are you going to pay for it? Because I remember getting one where you're sitting, Commissioner Ellis, and there were grants that are applied for that our engineers didn't even know about that required a 20% match. It's not okay to do that to the next board and for someone to sit up there and say, well, I'm going to be done in 2 years and it doesn't matter what decision I make now. I think I'm making the right decision for that next board. You don't get to do that. I want to also touch on concerns that were raised, and no disrespect, Commissioner Steele. I know you work hard as a commissioner, but it's concerning that the numbers are out for this year, or 2025, and there's 0 training calls from you, 0 training, 0 staff hours, and 2% of the calls for the year. And you've got a township vehicle and a $15,000 stipend. I don't think it's fair to everybody else who puts the time and effort in. I think it's very concerning that anybody else would be told that they have to, make more of an effort, and technically, even though you're a chief, you're still the fire chief superior. And I don't know if he's able to tell you that. But there definitely should be more of an effort. That's not okay. That's really a waste of taxpayer money. If the taxpayers aren't getting the service that they're paying for. And I know the argument is it's not taxpayer money, but it is. The fire tax, taxpayer money, even though it goes into a separate fund. So I just want to, bring those things up. And then there's a couple other questions I have. We've been asking, myself and former Commissioner Tuckey have been asking for quite a while now for an audit report from 2024. Now, in past years, I remember that audit report was given to us in June, and it was filed with DCD by their preferred date of June 30th. We're now in January of 2026, and I haven't seen a 2024 audit report. What's going on? Why isn't there an audit report? They come in, they look at your revenues, they look at your expenditures, they look at the receipts, and they say everything's great. And in past years, we were awarded for our fine financial management in government. I think it's called the I'm not even sure what it's called.
GFOA.
Yeah. Did we get that last year? Yeah. So what's going on? I mean, in 2024, did we get that in 2024? Because I don't know, I haven't heard anything yet. It wasn't announced. It's usually announced at meetings. So, I mean, I would like to know what's going on with that. Also, do you know if an EMA report was filed in September with the SEC? I'm asking the finance director. Was there an EMA report filed with the SEC in September?
President Ellis, if I may, it was filed.
Okay.
And I was just gonna, the 24 audit is not complete due to new accounting standards.
Well, no, that's not true. I'm sorry. I beg to differ. Every year, an audit report is due every year. We've always received it in June. New accounting standards. I would like to see those new accounting standards, if you could provide those to me. And then also,
I'm going to have this be the last point so that we can move on in case anyone else has comments.
Yeah. I would like to know what happened. Well, actually, can I just have two comments? $1.475 million for Rupp Hill Road was borrowed, and I would like to know what happened to that money. Rupp Hill Road, the road that we were supposed to fix.
Go ahead with your other.
There was an infrastructure loan borrowed, $1.47 million from the county for an infrastructure loan for that fixing of that road. And I haven't seen it on the report, so I'd like to know where that money went. And then
just go ahead and go to the other one.
Okay. And then
we have the answers to your questions. We can answer them.
And then
at the meeting.
So there was and back to the heavy rescue that was totaled in 2023. There was an insurance check for it was over $400,000. I'd like to know what happened to that money and why it's not being used for replacement of a heavy rescue now, as part of your plan. And then also, in your 2026 budget, you have a transfer of $5 million from the building bond fund to the general fund. You should have invoices for how you plan to spend that $5 million because, as everybody knows, the building bond fund is very restricted in how you can spend the money. It has to be spent on capital projects or building projects. So I would like to know what your plan is and how you plan on spending that $5 million because it's concerning to me that it's going into the general fund and could easily be spent on general operations. That's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Me too.
I can answer some of them, and one I'm going to rebuttal.
Okay.
Yeah, one I'm going to rebuttal.
Can you do it during commission?
As far as it relates to me, I don't take it as disingenuous because you reached out and you probably forgot, but early last year, my family was in a car accident, and I reached out to Chief Iverson, and I did tell him that I would not have as much time to dedicate as I could, but is there other things I could do or I would resign? And Chief Iverson was gracious enough because it took me 6-7 months of rehab of my family to get my family back in good shape, and that's what I was doing last year.
Just continue.
That's what I was doing, and doing administrative tasks for Chief Iverson as a chief, and still staffing. But the chiefs don't get staffing hours when we sign up for OIC shift. That doesn't count for us. That staffing is on the point system. So when we're staffing for 8-hour shifts or 2 8-hour shifts, which equals 16, it doesn't show up as points. So, but as far as the Rupp Hill Road, that's always been on the treasurer's report. That continues to be on the treasury report, and it's still there. I think the other one that you touched on was the transfer. We've always showed a transfer out of the bond for what we're going to spend. If you look at the previous year, I'm going to answer your questions. There's an ordinance for the bond where we felt the committee, and also talking to our financial advisors to show more transparency, that we would always show a transfer for what we're paying for. Otherwise, you can just pay out of the bond. So when you ask what that transfer is for, that transfer is to pay for the new building. I think it was $2 million was the first round. So you have to put that towards some GL.
The only way you show it is if you actually show it on your budget schedule, which will come out of a general ledger. So you can follow that, and I'm sure you'll ask. I'm sure you will, and you can find that, and I understand. And if you look, you will see where the expenditure and the revenue is. But the transfer doesn't happen until a bill actually has to be paid. And I think that was all the questions,
Well,
right?
that's true, but that's why I'm asking, why is it part of the 2026 budget? If you're
We're-
asking
It was part
what-
of both budgets that you voted on. It was part of the 24, the 20. Yeah, you voted on the 24 and 25.
Yes, to
It was on
advertise.
both, yeah.
We're going to go ahead and go on to our next person for comments.
Michael Tucky, 5875 Gensmer Lane. First, I just want to say thank you, Kevin, for the job that you have been doing, that you always do a terrific job. And I know you put 100% effort in everything you do. And we are lucky to have you in this township. Something bothered me tonight here at this meeting. The only thing that's changed is 2 spots up there. So that comments that was made about certain commissioners, which would have had to be Christine Zubek and myself, not being supportive of the fire service, I don't appreciate that at all, because we have been nothing but supportive. I just don't get this. We have been nothing but supportive with the fire and the police and every resident of this township. So, you know, I can take it. It's not an issue, but it's disingenuous. Just because you don't agree with some of the things that we've stated, because we were concerned about the direction we were being taken in, maybe how some of the special positions was made, expenses that we have to take care of as a township, that we're definitely having issues financially big time. And there's no doubt about it. We got to control our spending and watch what we're doing. And I'm always for public safety, I still am. That was never an option not to be. But some people disagreed with, I guess, keeping Chambers Hill open, and decided to take the engine and put it at the compost facility instead of leaving it in the station and allow them to keep growing. It makes no sense. And picture how fast of a time would be if actually there were some firefighters that was stationed up at Chambers Hill. It could have been less than possibly 2 minutes if that was the time from, I was actually crossing the bridge going to work when they came up through the sirens and everything was before the Turkey Hill. I'm not disputing times or anything. I appreciate everyone we have in our fire service. I don't appreciate the direction and sometimes the lack of leadership, in my opinion, which I've stated before. It just doesn't make sense to me. And it's not because I'm not knowledgeable. We need Chambers Hill open back up. You're going to get more firefighters? Put them up there. Let's open it back up. We have the equipment to do so. And there was just one thing I wanted to ask, if I may. The age of the equipment that you're replacing, could you please tell me what that is for each piece?
One of them's totaled, so we don't have it, but it was a 2008. The other one's a 2008, and the other one's a 2018. So 2010.
Okay. Well, I still believe we should have been, I'm not saying we shouldn't get the equipment. We should stagger it to be able to afford it a little bit more, in my opinion. But it doesn't matter what I think right now at this point. Again, Kevin, thank you for everything you're doing. And you guys have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other visitors' requests and comments at this time?
My name is Jennifer Lippy. I live at 631 South 23rd Street in Harrisburg. I am coming up, we plan on replacing our cheerleader uniforms this year and making them reversible so our cheerleaders are able to be more breast cancer awareness. The uniform cost per uniform is $102, and we usually have up to a possibility of 80 participants on our cheerleading side. This last year was our biggest year. I think we had around 60 participants, but we also are growing, and we are appreciative of any help we can ever get because we work with low-income families, and the more we can give them, the more allows parents to allow their kids to be part of our program. I currently run the cheer department, and this coming year will be my 5th year. So any help is always helpful because the more we get, we can do for the kids. And that's all I got to say.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Do we have, yep.
So Loftus, 5631 Plainview Drive. Maybe I missed the answer to this question. So with Mr. Trafko working his extra 20 hours a week, okay, what is the duration that is planned that he's going to be doing this extra work? Is it like 1 month, 2 months?
The expiration of the agreement that was passed this evening is February 28th.
Oh, okay. So it's only going to be like a month. Okay. All right. That's
It's retroactive from
if it were extended,
January 6th through February 28th.
Yeah, if it were extended beyond that, it's like his hourly wage would be more than Governor Shapiro's. You know that. So, okay.
Right.
Thank you.
And again, because of the term, that's why it's where it is. And if you look up, there was an interim manager in Lower Paxton. That's the rate. That's where it came from. It wasn't just made up.
It's just for the interim. It's not what the salary will be for that person. He will be assuming the full-time role. Okay.
Correct. Yep.
So, okay. I just wanted to make.
Yep.
Well,
it would be a lot of money, you know.
It's $130,000 a year.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
But that could be, that's
actually Governor Shapiro has 13 million people. We have 10,000.
Believe it or not, if you actually want to go to township manager, that's pretty much the going rate, about $120,000 to $130,000 a year for a township manager, a class 1.
130, not 260.
Oh,
yeah. Okay, so, thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other visitors requesting comments at this time? All right. Possible stormwater violations for investigation, that's on the agenda every meeting. If anyone has any, you can come forward and state them, and you can always send things like that in through our website. We're up to 25 commissioners requesting comments, additional business, and correspondence. Commissioner Douglas.
Good evening, everyone. Yeah, a lot of you know, first term up here. The hard part, like Commissioner Shane will always say, is the decision you have to make up here, and not taken away from the prior commissioners. Okay? They're not some of the pleasant ones. And sometimes you find out just to save the rest of your body, you end up chopping off a piece of your limb. The trucks we need and equipment we need for firefighting. The incident that just happened recently, where it was a beautiful response to the call. I can only imagine if our equipment failed. The entire family barely made it out. Pretty much it wasn't for the dog annoying somebody in the shower. That's the only warning they had. If our equipment had failed, any part of that, this conversation would be going in a completely different direction. Since the olden days of the Western, when someone yelled fire, everybody helped. And that's what it's going to take. Everyone's help. My plan coming in here is simple. I'm going to make Swatara Township priority 1. And I'm not talking about the land mass or the trees or the rocks or the critters. I'm talking about the people that's here right now. We can up and move, and the land here can implode. Your safety is priority one. We have a long road ahead of us. It took me a lot of thought about this, the trucks and everything, a lot. Talked to Chief, side by side. And it's almost a no-brainer for me. At first, it was not. The information received tonight, we made sure, and also, I think Techie was here, I think he left.
No, he's in the back.
Is that?
Yeah.
He also did something that I appreciate. Made sure to reiterate to the chief to explain exactly the expiration dates of our equipment. I don't think anyone in here would put their family in a vehicle and say, we're going to go to California, but it already has 300,000 miles on it and it's a Ford Escort. Don't worry, we can do it. We can, but it's going to take all of us. So with that being said, I'm going to be here for the fight, but I need you also. That's all I have to say. Thank you for coming out, and thank you for being residents of Swatara Township.
Thank you. Commissioner Ray.
I just want to say thank you all for being here tonight. Have a wonderful good night.
Thank you. Commissioner Connolly.
Yeah, I want to start with just the conversation on the budget. The budget was worked on throughout the year, and it was passed unanimously by the Board of Commissioners to approve to advertise in November. And the two on the ends, Ben and Benita, commissioners weren't here, but the two you heard speak tonight, Commissioner Zubek and Tucky, were here. So they were part of the 5-0 unanimous vote on the budget. Then in December, we came back and we had another vote after we put it out for the public, and we had a 5-0 vote, and Commissioner Tucky and Commissioner Zubek were up here, and they voted for that budget. So we had it out for an additional time period for the public to review. Tonight, we voted 5-0. So the questions and the concerns that we heard from the microphone were different than the actions that were taken when those two were sitting up here. So I'm going to thank them both for supporting that budget, having all their questions answered through budget meetings to the point where they were confident enough to vote on it. Not sure why they would come back when two other people are sitting in their seats who won the election, and it's really their first meeting, and question things that they knew about. A person from the audience questioned an incredible speech that Commissioner Steele gave and wanted to know if he used modern technology to enhance it. I mean, that's like saying somebody shouldn't use spell check. When I put a post on Facebook, there's an option for AI, and it's what I said and what I typed, and AI might put a better word or sentence structure. So I'm not sure how that comment was negative towards potentially using AI to enhance a speech or some document. That's the way it is now. That's what everyone does. So again, I find it odd that somebody would come in and say that, but it's the public, you can say what you want. On some positive things here, we touched on them before. Nice presentation from the Greenbelt. The Greenbelt goes through Swatara Township. Ms. Krimpus had a very nice conversation. But I want to say that the two gentlemen that are sitting over here not only provide public safety for the part that goes through Swatara Township, by contract, they provide public safety for the part that goes through Paxtang Borough, because these two gentlemen are the police and fire representatives for Paxtang Borough. Commissioner Steele, yeah, we passed notes.
I didn't know if you had that on your notes or not.
I have it, but I'll go to it now. On Monday, the 19th of January, will be Martin Luther King's holiday. And here at the township, we will be going into, I might get this wrong, but I feel like it's our 13th year of a Martin Luther King Day of Service. We'll get it on Facebook tonight. We're going to meet at Crossroads Christian Ministry. We put together some bags with some goodies, some essential items, some things that our police and firefighters get out in the community as part of their community outreach. It's not anything expensive or excessive, but we feel that it provides comfort. And this theme will be children. We've done it for seniors. This time we'll go back. This one will be for children. Something that if there was a call or they showed up, there's going to be some drinks, there's going to be some snacks, there's going to be, we always put something to write with, because through the ministry and outreach that I do through the schools, I find out the biggest problem in the homes is children that when they have homework from school, and shocking to say, it's hard to find a pen or a pencil sometimes in the home that they're in, and it's sad. So we provide that. We know that the back to school backpack giveaways that a lot of us are involved in do that in August. But by the time you hit January and the Martin Luther King holiday, it's tough a lot of times for our kids at the income level that they have and things that go on in the home. So we're going to do that. We also call it the Day of Service if the temperature is good. We will do a community cleanup in the area. Township will provide vests, rakes, gloves, and the trash bags. And if, depending on the area we go, there's traffic issues, the township will provide safety. And that's going to lead me into the next thing. And you don't need to register anything. You just show up. It's basically 9:30 to 11. Again, that'll be on Facebook. But to question Commissioner and Chief Steele's commitment to this township and the hours that he puts in. I was with him the night that his family was in an accident. And I don't want to give too many of the details away, but he has several children that were injured and his spouse. And there were some relatively serious injuries that would take some time for somebody to, heal and be with the family and just, to do all the things that the children need. So cherry picking a statistic and putting it on your campaign page from a campaign that you just lost kind of tells you a lot about people, because you can't count the hours. And he's smiling because he knows I could go off on this, but you can't count the hours that he puts in. They might not be on the information that these people looked up, but they only put a few specific hours. But when we have events in this township where we had the family fun fest and we close the street, we have the fireworks, we do the tree lighting, we do the Easter egg hunt, we do these cleanups, there's safety considerations involved. We just don't go out and do stuff. There's meetings, there's preparation, there's purchases. He's there for all of that, hours and hours and hours. And a lot of these things are on the weekends and evenings. And to begrudge him for getting a stipend, he doesn't have a full-time job. He's a fire chief. He doesn't have a full-time job. He gets the stipend that the other ones get. And it saves the taxpayers money because it's not his full-time job. The vehicle that he has, and you can Google him, you'll see that he has saved lives in the township. There was a fire, and I believe it was Farm Show Week years ago over here at a hotel. And this gentleman and that gentleman went on a ladder up to a second-story window where everyone thought people were out, and they rescued people. So to question his commitment, how many hours showed up on a piece of paper that somebody got and only posted a couple things, that tells you more about the people that are speaking at the podium than this gentleman. And I have a feeling it's not going to let up, because this is our first meeting. And I welcome people to come to the podium with public comment. You can say what you want, but I can think what I want about what you said. And I think other people can do that too. And it is obvious, we're in a township where we just had an election. We had winners and losers. The winners are at their first meeting tonight. The last meeting was just to swear them in. It was more of a ceremonial reorganization meeting. Tonight, they're starting to do the work. And they're going to do a great job. And I've been up here with other people, other parties. You see that sometimes we don't agree, but we're not disagreeable on our ideas. if you want to look at some meetings from the past, you would see that that's the problem. But I'm just going to wrap up with some really good statistics, and I mentioned it before. In a township where we passed a budget tonight that had no tax increase, where the fire response to the scene of 1,600 fires, do I have that right? Fire emergency calls? Whatever you said. For the year. 1658 was 4 minutes and 50 seconds. We used to shoot for a national standard of 8 minutes. Imagine what could happen in a couple more minutes if a car is upside down, you're leaking blood, your house is on fire. Whatever these calls can be. Incredible numbers. Crime down, response time down, no tax increase for the 13th year in a row in this township. And we're reaching out to our citizens with programs. We're adding more programs. And a gentleman that spoke about parks. How many parks is enough? Some of them are small, some of them are big. I think it's an important thing for the community, the health of the community, the people coming together. So many of those parks are paid for with grants. And I'm going to end with this. If you want to come to the podium and tell me that this is more important than this, or that's more important than that, or I like this, I don't like this, I'm up here for the total package with this group of 5. And we can have good parks. We don't have to raise taxes. We can have incredible police. We can get to your emergency and save you. And if I say something and someone records it and says that somewhere this was used in AI, I'm not going to dispute it. Maybe it's possible. There's only so many words and so many things you could say. But everything that we're doing going forward, I am so proud to be on the board with this group. And thank everybody for coming out, whether you agree with me or not.
Vice President Steele.
Brendan has 20,000 emails on his computer, just to let you know. For the last year, this lady to my right has debated, just when we have political conversations, the ideology of the different political parties. And some of them went on late at night, and I would argue my position. She would argue her position. And I think what she was trying to share with me was her experience of being an elected official, being a politician. Shayla's no politician. She's an elected official, mind you. I get it. Sunk in. Took 2 years and 1 month. I get it. I totally understand the stark differences that my ancestors went through. I totally understand the differences, and I'm a conservative, mind you, that people that look like me continue to go through, to essentially attack me that I can't write. I write for a living, if you didn't know. I write arbitration appeals at a federal level, just so you know. That's my job. That's what I did representing other people, because that's all I do is represent people. And there is a party of people in this township that just aren't happy. And what you should have learned from this last election is those tactics didn't work. Because there's a marginalized group of people within this township, within this county, within this state, and within this country that's tired of your nonsense. And they're standing up, and they're voting for change. And I represent that change. Whether you like it or not, I represent that change. This board represents that change. This board looks different than it's ever looked in 250 years. You know why? Because it looks like its community. And I get it. Some of you just can't stand it. Because it's not what you're used to. It doesn't look like it, doesn't feel the same. Well, this is the new world, whether you realize that or not. And I would ask you to crawl from underneath that rock and recognize it, because you have a generation that is out there now that doesn't want to listen to the rhetoric anymore and the promises. They actually want action. They actually want something done. And they want people to look exactly like them, that came from the communities that they came from. And I came from what would be considered in slang the hood. So I fought to get here. I didn't place myself here. God did this. I didn't want to be here. I had no choice but to be here, because when I came up to that podium, I wasn't represented. The gavel was banged on me. I was told to shut up, sit down. My 3 minutes was over. I was interrogated nonstop by a board of commissioners. And I'm not going to continue on that subject, but I'm going to turn my attention to some of the decisions that had to be made tonight financially, and why I made the decisions I did. Because when I sat on this board, I was hoping that I had the opportunity to enjoy the parks and recs, enjoy the senior fairs. That didn't take place. We took over a government with over a $2 million deficit. The prior year, before me being elected, we had $4 million in capital reserves. When I was elected, there was 1.7 million when I was seated, excuse me. So all this rhetoric to continue to come up here as if you did something to change the ship. Commissioner Tuckey, you did absolutely nothing but just stand by and be here. And I'm calling a spade a spade. Trust me, I want all the smoke in 2026. What you guys have done to my family, what you guys have done to just cause strife and turmoil. Again, I was put here. I didn't choose this, so I want it all. Stop the rhetoric that you tried to change something because you didn't change anything. And a deficit still exists to this day in this local government because of the mismanagement in 22 and 23. You can put whatever you want on your campaign. Men and women will always lie. The numbers do not. The professionals came here and showed us this. As far as this Chamber Hill situation, you had them out of service for 2 years. You never put them back in service. They've been out of service almost 4 years now. You said they had 14 volunteers. We ain't seen the 14 volunteers yet. You consistently tear down Chief Iverson and other volunteers, such as you just did on your campaign page. Again, I'll talk to Chief Iverson. I've known Chief Iverson a long time, and we were arch enemies. He will tell you that when we first met. But find me a more qualified fire chief in Dauphin County. Matter of fact, find me a more qualified fire chief in the state of Pennsylvania. And I'll say again, he holds a certification that only 30% of people in the whole entire world hold. The man knows what he's doing. And if we would listen to his advice, I wouldn't have had to vote against a fire truck because I didn't have to set up another board. Because we would have $4 million plus sitting that we could have paid cash for a piece of apparatus. But the recklessness of 22 and 23 stopped that from happening. And it was a reckless government. And again, the people spoke. I'm not a party person, trust me. And Shayla will tell you that. I'm not just voting just because it's a Democrat. I don't go at people just because they're Republicans. I'm very principled in my politics, but I get it now. And I'm going to end with that. I understand the very stark differences between the extreme left on my party and the extreme right on the Republican Party, and what they are doing to people that look like me, and it needs to stop. I appreciate you for coming out. Appreciate you for logging on, and have a good night.
Thank you. I'll be brief. We just finished up 2025, so I want to take the time now to thank all of our first responders, our Public Works Department, Police Department, admin staff, and everyone else that is employed by the township for pushing through a great year. We have fantastic employees. We're very fortunate to have the people that we have working and serving you. They're the reason we can make the decisions that we're able to make. So again, I just want to extend my appreciation. And I will share something that is a little bit of a personal note with regard to, we heard about response times for fire. About 25 years ago, I lost a home to fire. That was when we had the model that some people argue we should continue, which is where people respond from their home to the fire station and then drive the fire equipment to wherever the fire is. I lived less than a mile from a fire station, and my home was lost. So I'm very thankful that we do have someone that is as forward-thinking as Chief Iverson, that is trying to move our fire services to a point where no one else has to experience that. We just heard a testament this evening about how we were able to avoid that for another family. So I just want to share that for the public. I know how that feels to have to go through something like that. I was in, I believe, 7th grade at the time. So I was a child and lost my childhood home. I lived on Highland Street. And again, we know the Oberlin or fire station is right up the street from where I lived. So again, I just want to thank everyone for the job that they do with Swatara Township. I want to thank all of you for being here this evening. Thank everyone that takes the time to watch these meetings. And I hope everyone that is here gets home safe. I will go ahead and entertain a motion for adjournment. Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Meeting is adjourned at 9:54 p.m.